Hello and welcome to YNWA Transfer News, your ultimate source for all Liverpool FC transfer news. Our first news is this.
Ibrahima Konate's next move is clear after Real Madrid transfer snub. It's the update no one should be surprised at. Ibrahima Konate's inconsistent performances are beginning to put off potential suitors. Perhaps inconsistent is a kind word for the Liverpool defender's standards this season. His displays have baffled. Despite all the negativity surrounding Konate, he has at times been outstanding. That was the case against Arsenal and Burnley in the early weeks of the campaign, and even recently in defeat to Manchester United. However, those highs were offset by several dismal lows, as his chaotic showings went unpunished in August and September. Of late, Konate has embodied Arne Slot's side: nervous, erratic, and dreadfully underperforming. The last three performances have been truly shocking for a player who was among the league's best defenders last season. He has now been withdrawn in 7 of his 18 starts this season. It's not quite the standard Real is looking for. Hence, the Athletic's update that the 15-time European champions have communicated their diminished interest should not come as a shock. Why? With the side that styles itself as the continent's best look to recruit an error-strewn liability, Los Blancos are not the only club linked with Konate. Bayern Munich, Paris Saint-Germain, and Barcelona have also been credited with interest in the Frenchman. But neither of the trio specializes in recruiting free agents quite like Real. Make no mistake, Friday's update means Konate's chances of remaining at Liverpool beyond June are significantly greater. Despite some social media grumblings, that is a positive. It seems many fans have quickly forgotten just how impressive Konate was last season, and there have been flashes of that defensive colossus at times this season. It should not be overlooked that Liverpool remains keen on securing the former RB Leipzig man's long-term future. The club does not underestimate his quality despite the disappointing start to the season. Meanwhile, centre-back is becoming an increasingly precarious position in Slot's squad. Virgil van Dijk's standards have dropped, and his contract expires at the end of next season. As does Joe Gomez's. As reported by Liverpool.com earlier this month, the Reds are willing to let the long-serving player leave should they have sufficient options in that area. Giovanni Leone's transfer has not gone to plan since his summer arrival, and there are no guarantees he will be fit this time next year following that season-ending ACL injury. Marc Guéhi remains a transfer target. One Liverpool could still make a January move or sign for free next summer, or even lose out on altogether. He is not short of interest from Europe's preeminent clubs. Another intriguing figure lurking in the background is YNWA Quansah. The England international departed Anfield last summer and is excelling at Bayer Leverkusen. Liverpool retains a buyback option, which could be exercised next year. Given the deficiencies at the heart of defense this season, few would be surprised if Liverpool did. All this feeds into the Konate saga. There are so many unknowns in that area. Undoubtedly, Liverpool's No. 5 remains the greatest of those uncertainties. And Friday's update does not necessarily mean he will remain at the club next season. That is unlikely to help with his volatile form. And it is perhaps not a surprise that Konate's standards have dropped since he entered the final year of his contract. Getting them back to last season's levels must now be the priority. That will be a positive for Liverpool, Konate, and any other interested parties. The Reds won't be interested in the latter, though. They will hope Friday's update clears some of the fog that has engulfed Konate over recent weeks and ultimately result in him renewing extension talks. Liverpool get green light to complete €40 million January transfer. Liverpool have a golden chance to sign a bargain centre-back right now. Arne Slot is struggling. One of the biggest factors as to why he's struggling is because of the lack of centre-back depth available to him. Liverpool just don't have the options to rotate. Giovanni Leone has been ruled out of the rest of the season and Joe Gomez is struggling with fitness issues. So, Richard Hughes needs to enter the market and pursue a move. Thankfully, January is now just over a month away, and it will present the club's sporting director with the perfect opportunity to make a move and fix Liverpool's problems. There's been a lot of talk about Marc Guéhi, but a move for him in the winter window just doesn't seem to make sense considering he is available on a free transfer in just a few months' time. Another player is available right now, and he's exactly what Liverpool are looking for. The type of player Liverpool need at the moment is someone who is a very stable defender, reads the game well and can play alongside Virgil van Dijk to give Ibrahima Konate a bit of respite. Konate is struggling at the moment in terms of form because he is being asked to play a lot of minutes. The amount of minutes he is playing he is simply not used to. Liverpool have always rotated him and gave other players an option. So, the Reds need a potential alternative to Konate. It would also be helpful if that alternative option could be someone who could also replace the Frenchman, considering Konate is yet to extend his current deal at Anfield, which expires at the end of the season. Who might be the perfect solution for this? Jeremy Jacquet. You might be asking, who? He's a 20-year-old centre-back currently playing for Rennes who broke onto the scene in Ligue 1 last season, a French U21 international. Jacquet has really stood out as one of the best young centre-backs in Europe's top 5 leagues over the course of the last calendar year. Jacquet is first and foremost an excellent defender. He reads the game well, he's extremely fast and strong in his duels, and he's good at closing space and anticipating where the ball is going to go. Blessed with a towering physique, long legs that can stretch out and make important blocks, clearances and challenges. Jacquet is the definition of what you want from your centre-back. On top of everything, he's also a very composed player on the ball. The numbers support that as well. Jacquet has won 63% of his defensive duels and 70% of his aerial duels. He's only one of 17 centre-backs in Europe's top 5 leagues under the age of 25, who has won at least 60% of his defensive duels and 60% of his aerial duels, while also averaging at least 8 progressive passes per 90 minutes. Now, if we increase the threshold to winning at least 70% of aerial duels, he's only one of 3 defenders fitting that criteria. One thing that stands out about Jacquet is that he is effective at spraying long passes. Out of centre-backs who average 3.5 long passes at least per 90 minutes from the above criteria, Jacquet has the best long pass accuracy, 63.44%. Now, Konaté's side are reporting that Rennes' asking price for the player is just €40 million, with Manchester United among the clubs ready to meet that figure. Liverpool should be among them, too. That asking price is a green light for Richard Hughes to make a move. Transfer strategy on Darn Slot reduced Liverpool to Brendan Bad levels. Andy Hunter. Not since 2014 have Liverpool struggled so much, with questions aimed at directors and players such as Alexander Isak and Florian Wirtz. Would you say this is Roy Bad or Brendan Bad? Was one of the more repeatable questions asked in the Anfield press box in between PSV Eindhoven's 3rd and 4th goals on Wednesday. The correct answer would have been Don Welsh Bad, given he was the last Liverpool manager to preside over 9 defeats in 12 games, back in 1953-54. But the on-the-spot consensus was Brendan Bad for reasons that may increase anxiety at Fenway Sports Group as the club's owners desperately await a recovery under Arne Slot. The Roy Hodgson era, airbrushed from history by some at Liverpool, is too low a base for comparisons with a Premier League champion. There are, however, some parallels between the current Liverpool crisis and the final 16 months of Brendan Rodgers' reign at Anfield. The 2014-15 season was the last time confidence in a Liverpool manager or head coach began to drain. It was also the last time the impressive development of a Liverpool team, one that went agonizingly close to an unexpected title triumph in Rodgers' case, not only came to an abrupt halt but veered into a steep decline with several new signings on board. FSG must hope the comparisons go no further, because that decline was precipitated by self-sabotage in the summer transfer window of 2014, and there is no conclusive evidence so far that it has avoided an expensive repeat in 2025. Responsibility for Liverpool's ridiculous and unbelievable collapse, to use Slot's own descriptions, is on the shoulders of a head coach who has struggled to find solutions and faces a critical run of Premier League fixtures in the next week against West Ham, Sunderland and Leeds. The affable, honest Dutchman has never shied from that responsibility and accepts that questions over his future are legitimate. Only 6 months after leading Liverpool to their 2nd league title in 35 years, he is not bringing the best out of an unquestionably talented group, whose commitment towards the end of the losses to PSV and Nottingham Forest was questionable. Liverpool's transfer strategy is led by Hughes and Michael Edwards, chief executive of football at FSG. Slot has input and a say on transfer targets, but, as his head coach title demonstrates, his role is to work within the system FSG put in place after Klopp's departure and coach the team. That is worth considering as the clamor among Liverpool supporters for Klopp to return gathers pace. FSG does not want an all-powerful manager in charge, Edwards would in all likelihood have not agreed to return to the club in March 2024 had that been the plan. Edwards and Hughes' reputations for astute, intelligent transfer dealings and long-term planning are well established. But, with Slot under intense pressure and Liverpool in the bottom half of the table, albeit while 3 points off fourth place, their approach to the summer window invites as many questions as the team's results were. Last season's champions really crying out for the addition of Florian Wirtz's creative class at a cost of potentially 116 meters. Why sign Hugo Ekatike for up to £79 million plus Alexander Isak for £125 million when there is so little cover on the flanks, especially after the departure of Luis Diaz? Why sign a right wing back in Jeremy Frimpong when a bona fide fullback was required? Liverpool will be paying a considerable price for the foreseeable future if, and it remains and if given the caliber of Wirtz and Isak, they have got this one spectacularly wrong. Questions at right back have had a destabilizing effect on the Liverpool team. The club were powerless to prevent Trent Alexander-Arnold leaving on a free for Real Madrid, but the consequences of his acrimonious exit have been extensive. Conor Bradley's struggles with injury were well known before Alexander-Arnold went, hence the need for an established addition in that position. One did not arrive. Bradley, Frimpong, Joe Gomez, Curtis Jones, Calvin Ramsey and Dominic Szoboszlai have been deployed at right back this season. The high turnover has undoubtedly affected Mohamed Salah's form. Switching Szoboszlai to defense has also deprived the Liverpool midfield of the team's most effective player this term. Slot had hoped Wirtz would provide the ingenuity needed to break down low blocks and turn the slender victories of last season into more emphatic routes. It has not happened. The Germany international, who could return from injury at West Ham on Sunday, may have been lured with promises of a team being built around him, as Arsene Wenger has claimed, but has had minimal impact in the Premier League when playing as a 10. Slot's search to accommodate the playmaker continues. A 6 start to life at Liverpool has been worse than Wirtz's, the most expensive signing in British football history was excused for a sluggish introduction by Slot on account of missing preseason at Newcastle while effectively on strike to force a move to Merseyside. 2 months into his Liverpool career, the Sweden striker remains short of match sharpness. One can only wonder what the rest of the Liverpool dressing room makes of his behavior at Newcastle this summer. The new signings, Slot, but are not solely responsible for the downturn of a champion team, reeling from the immeasurable loss of Diogo Jota and in uncharted territory. On the pitch too, it was noticeable how often Slot used the word fight during his press conference to preview the West Ham game. Liverpool must show more over the next week, or the unthinkable will come a step closer. Liverpool transfer news as Arne Slot overruled on player sale by Richard Hughes. Arne Slot was reportedly overruled on the sale of Luis Diaz during the summer transfer window. With the Liverpool head coach apparently keen to keep hold of the Colombia international, Liverpool's squad was overhauled in the off-season, with Diaz among the key players from last season to move on to a new club. And while Diaz has flourished at Bayern Munich, his old club has failed to hit the heights it scaled last term. With Reds head coach Slot coming under scrutiny for the team's recent struggles, Liverpool's many departures over the summer made way for a host of high-profile signings. But all of them, Hugo Ekatike aside, have been hugely disappointing for a variety of reasons. Among many things that the Reds are currently missing is Diaz's directness in attack. And caught offside is reporting that his exit came as a disappointment to Slot. The report says that Slot pushed for Diaz to be handed a new contract at Anfield, but sporting director Richard Hughes did not see the value in handing the winger a lucrative deal, and opted to cash in when Bayern presented the Reds with an attractive offer. Diaz's deal was due to expire in the summer of 2027, but he was significantly underpaid relative to his standing in the squad, and the 28-year-old was keen to secure a lucrative deal at this stage in his career. Diaz is believed to have more than quadrupled his salary with his move to Bayern, and the Bavarian club is being rewarded for showing faith in the former Porto star, with Diaz having registered 11 goals and 5 assists across 18 appearances in all competitions. Meanwhile, Liverpool and Real Madrid are both said to be confident that Ibrahima Konate will be playing for their team next season. Konate's current contract at Anfield is due to expire at the end of the season, and Madrid is reportedly considering him as a possible free agent signing. YNWA that Madrid is growing in confidence over its chances of landing Konate, But Liverpool also thinks it is in a strong position in talks over a contract extension for the France international. Konate's performances on the pitch have left much to be desired in recent weeks, and his place in the team could be under threat when Liverpool travels to West Ham this weekend, with Joe Gomez waiting in the wings.
Thank you for watching. Like and comment, subscribe.